What lengths would you go to try and perfect your golf game? Well, I travelled over 6,000 miles to get the ultimate golf driver fitting experience, and let me tell you, it was worth travelling every last mile. If you didn't know, Callaway have launched their new Paradym Ai Smoke Drivers, and I got a chance to head to LA for their launch event, plus head to Callaway's Eli Performance Center. So join me as I take on an unforgettable journey to find the perfect driver to fit my golf game. What driver will I end up with? Comment down below. And if you are enjoying the channel and the content, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and turn that bell on so you get notified of when I upload all my new videos. Callaway Eli Performance Center, let's do this. Garrett, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you,
You're gonna
Matt.
fit my new driver.
I think it's gonna be pretty easy. I saw you warming up earlier.
Nothing's easy with me, I'm sorry.
I don't believe that.
So my current driver, Paradym.
Yeah.
Standard Paradym, adjustable weight on the back. Project X Hazardous, I think it is.
Okay.
6.0
6.0.
black one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Black one. And a mid-size CP2 grip.
Has that been a good club for you? That's always a good place to start, assuming someone's kind of comfortable with what they've got.
Yeah, I mean, driver's always been a bit of a struggle with me. I don't play enough and practice enough.
Yeah, so like something a little on the easier side to hit.
Yeah, but
driver.
I will say, and we've talked about it previously when you saw me warming up, I had an iron fitting recently, and I went from Project X 6.0 shafts in my irons to the IO, did you call them?
IO, yeah,
which were
individually optimized. It's a little lighter and softer if you went with the 6.0.
Yeah, so when I put that in, I could completely change the feel of the head, and I kind of knew where it was loads more in the swing. So if I can kind of get that kind of feeling going with a driver as well, like that's kind of my number one
something that
goal.
just feels easy to swing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Softer.
Like I don't like stiff, heavy kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, I saw you've got plenty of speed, where almost every fitter might say you need heavier and extra stiff. But you know, if you can time something up really well and you get a good trajectory, I mean,
cool,
whatever works.
Where do you want to start?
I'm going to start you with the Max driver, which is the new version of what you're already playing. It's got the sliding adjustable weight. I just grabbed one of the shafts we had on hand here. Cool. This is graphite design. I'm not necessarily particular on that exact shaft, but it's a stiff flex rather than an X stiff.
I do like
60 rather than 70.
I do like whizzy colors.
It's got a cool color combo too. That's usually where I start if I'm picking a new club out for myself, and feels good after that. It usually ends up in the club.
Got a new driver thought as well.
You're just like every golfer. New swing thought.
So I
something to work on.
Generally speaking, as well, I'm more toe biased. Like I'll generally
strike it on the toe. Yeah, that's good to know.
I am like trying to do stuff with my driver to move strike, but that is like something that probably you want to know.
Yeah, hit location. Knowing that with especially a better player, knowing their hit location tendency is like ultra critical.
Yeah.
You set the club up around that.
As I say that, I neck one.
And what will happen on a toe strike, as I'm sure you know, you'll get a gear effect, twisting the club open, twisting the ball to the left. You can counteract that some with CG of the club. So the adjustable sliding weight, I wouldn't be surprised if you have yours slid toward the toe to move the CG more where you're striking it.
I don't actually.
Is your miss like what you saw with those first two?
Yeah, so I can be toe strike, dippy out the air.
Yeah.
And then if I do strike one, there'll be good shots, but then I can have a big miss right. But that's more technique rather than the club shot.
Yeah, if you hit enough shots where you're striking them out of the toe, and then that miss results in a left miss, a good player is going to adjust. So you might feel like, okay, I've got to not have the face closed, because if I hit it on the toe, I want it at least to start out to the right. Yeah. Because it's coming back to the left. So then if you do that and you migrate the hit location into the middle, you're going to start seeing the ball not draw because you're not getting that gear effect. And then it's also going to start out to the right because you're holding the face open. So we got to kind of play a little bit of a balancing act to not give you too much fade bias, so when you hit it out of the middle, that it doesn't, start right and go right.
Cool.
But I would, at least if you're going to stay with the forgiving drivers, I would slide this weight to the toe.
I'm definitely more forgiving. Like I get triple diamond in my hand, I'm a bit like small, squatty. I kind of like the stretch back.
Yeah, and if your miss hits are laterally, the smaller heads, triple diamond.
Yeah.
The center of gravity is closer to the face on a smaller head, even though that has some adjustability in that regard. And the miss hits on a CG driver that's closer to the face pivots more because the head will rotate around its center of gravity. So if the center of gravity is closer to the face, you're going to see more of a twist on the face and start the ball more offline. Where these higher MOI heads, the CG's further back, so that head's going to twist less because it's rotating around its center of gravity. Yeah. So you're not going to see the start lines differ as much. Okay. So we want to probably stick with something like this and just get the center of gravity to where the curve doesn't
straight off
change
the bat. I would be happy with this rather than triple diamond.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the nice thing is a couple of the shots you hit a minute ago, the launch and spin were really nice. Yeah, you saw really it's not like we're sacrificing distance so much. Yeah. To get it straighter. Yeah. In the years past, I would see more of that, like the easier to hit drivers. It's like, they spin 2,900 instead of 2,400. Yeah, so like doesn't go as far if you got a lot of speed like you do. Yeah. Nowadays, the forgiving drivers maintain low spin a lot better than. Yeah. So you don't have to make that sacrifice.
Because like that, I 100% would take on a golf course. Like,
that's not only closer to the target line than those divey lefts, it's a lot farther in the air too.
Yeah, so that was a bit heely as well. So I feel like new swing thoughts will have an effect on my impact as well. Yeah. And I know it's going to...
I like where we're going with this thing, because the face angle, we're not opening it to counteract the dippy left. Yeah. We're just moving the center of gravity. So at least when you hit it out of the middle, the face is not going to be as open. Kind of like that shot right there. It didn't start way right.
And players react to where CG is in the head, don't
Some
they?
do, yeah. We call them CG searchers or finders. Yeah, not everyone does it. I mean, you'll see someone that's new at golf sort of figure that out. And you'll see someone that's won majors where they're, the CG could be in the heel or the toe and they don't move their strike pattern to it. But
absolutely.
It's kind of an interesting phenomenon, really.
Yeah. Confusing, aren't they, golfers? Or messy, should I say. So that was a toe, and like...
Yeah, much better miss than we started before we slid the weight.
Because if I'm going to toe it like that, and I constantly do it, like say I tee up on the first, I hit that one, I go to the second, and I kind of think that's going to happen again, and I just aim down the right, and I just keep playing that for the day. Like that's
a good way to play it. And that's a good one to look at launching spin-wise, even though it was on the toe, wasn't, so egregiously off center that we shouldn't look at the launch and spin. It was just a little toey. Yeah. 11 and 2,500.
What's that, 12 yards longer off that bit, isn't it?
It probably would have been if you hit another club 12 yards off the club, or last year's club. Like this year's drivers, I have noticed just in the fittings we've done thus far, the toe and low on the club face, I'm seeing like less spikes in speed and spin that detract from distance than I've ever seen in clubs in the past.
So feel-wise... like it doesn't feel like crazy stiff or heavy. So like where you're at here.
Yeah, you could be the type of player that would need to go through a handful of shafts to see what you time really good. Yeah. Because you definitely have a speed and a tempo where it's less common to see something that's got a little give to it like this one has. You would want to probably go through a couple that kind of give you that right kind of easy to swing feel, but maybe that you just time a little bit more consistent, and that's kind of an iterative process. I wouldn't necessarily say let me go get the one that's going to do that. I'd kind of grab a few and go through the process of actually seeing if something stands out over the others.
So that I would have expected to dip out the air, that one. When I felt that, I thought that was going to dip.
Like, that's where this club, if you do hit it a little on the toe, it's going to stay in the air better than the triple diamond would. Yeah. 175 ball speed.
Oh, getting up there.
I like this setup here. Your attack angle's real close to zero. A couple of them you're slight up, a couple of them you're slight down, like that one down there. Path angle's always 1, 2, 3 from the inside. That's probably your new swing thought. Is a little more in out.
Attack angle should start to change the more I start my downswing thoughts, but doing the backswing and downswings a bit too much at the moment, so
yeah,
just trying to nail the backswing thought.
as golfers, we're always works in progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Little toey again. So if there was like a shaft that you were going to push towards, what would it be?
I would start with one of the Fujikuras. They're the hottest thing going, it seems like right now. The Ventus line there. I have seen some players with the black one.
Yeah.
Not turn the ball over as much.
Yeah.
But the black one starts getting stiffer. So it could be a feel where you're like, that's what I'm trying to get away from.
Yeah.
But I would try that one, maybe in the stiff, and then
potentially. Have you got that one?
I've got one back in our club storage there. You want to try it?
Go on, go for it.
Yeah, let me get it. So one of the downsides of using a forgiving head and a soft shaft that feels good to you is the forgiving head, the center of gravity's further back, which the benefit there, as we mentioned earlier, is when you hit it on the toe, the head's going to move a little bit more this way rather than opening and closing as much. So it's not going to start the ball as far offline, which that we like. But soft shaft, deeper center of gravity, there's going to be more pull during the downswing, the centrifugal force as you unload the club with as much speed as you've got. It's more likely to close with the softer shaft than a stiffer shaft. So we'd go stiffer to see if that improved at all. You hit it a little bit straighter, basically, but it's not going to feel as good, or it's not the feel you're looking for. So I'm trying to find a balance between having the head that we know we like plus a shaft that might help with dispersion.
Fine.
So I'm going to go to a little bit tighter torque, a little bit stiffer without getting you into the tour flex stuff.
Fine.
That's the Ventus Black here. And it all sounds good on paper, but definitely no guarantee for you all of a sudden to hit it dead straight. But it's worth a try, and that's why you're here.
So wiggling it around, it feels a little stiffer, is that right?
A little sturdier, yeah. It's got the stiffer handle material that Fujikura's upgraded this year's shaft with, called Velo Core.
Oh, yes. And the weight, did you say similar? Same.
Similar weight, yeah. It's one of the stiffest tipped section shafts that are in the market.
A little thin, but again, as a miss on the golf course, that's fine, isn't it?
You play that one.
Yeah. And the weight, weight's still in the same spot.
That looked a little toey, was it?
A tiny bit toey, yeah. Nice. Because this doesn't feel, because I'm lazy, it doesn't feel like too much effort at the moment.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Without at the same time finding a benefit on the dispersion for you.
Yeah.
Nice. And some players, you could hand them a dozen shafts and they'll swing each one until they're worn out, and you're not going to find
anything,
a big difference between them. And others, it's like it's a game changer for them.
Yeah.
For yourself, with a relatively small sample size here, if we're just looking at the dispersion between the two shafts, you've got the red ellipse on the stiffer tip shaft that's in your hands now, and the blue ellipse with the softer feeling shaft. They're both similar weights. It's just tightening up the stiffness and the torque in the second one seems to be making a difference for you.
Yeah, definitely. Look at the left and right dispersion. That's completely different. And I know that can be dependent on strike and things as well, but if that's having an impact on my strike and not making me hit the toe, cool.
Huge benefit there.
Like that.
Now you can stay in a head that your toe hits are better directionally.
Yeah. That does feel good.
Yeah.
And I do like the weight in that side.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one's a little on the high side for spin for you, but that keeps you in a head that keeps your dispersion good and feels easier to hit if you're not, on your game that day. So you could err towards dropping the loft down as well. Some of those shots are in the upper 2000s.
Oh, okay.
None of your launch angles are straight up in the air either. They're like 10 degrees, or some of them are even under 10.
Yeah.
So if we were to look at a manual for like how do we optimize trajectory, you would increase the launch but decrease the spin. But in that club, you're not going to move them in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So you have to pick which one to sacrifice for the overall benefit of your driver performance.
Because I'd rather stay with a bit more higher spin.
And it's easier to hit straight typically. It's a little bit higher.
Because I want this just in play. That's what.
Yeah.
Obviously.
That club is set up for I'm just hitting it in play.
Nice.
Both with the head and with the shaft, them combined together, the weight slid into the toe. you're going to be, you know, not reaching to your hip for a re-tee with that club. Your longest balls might not, you know, happen with that unless you hit one high on the face, kind of on purpose. Or accidentally, just the crown shot, as we call it. That will come out with
high
higher
launch,
and lower
low spin. And again, that's more something that I'm working on in strike location, because I'm trying to move it from toe to more middle. Then that might come over a bit of time anyway. Is this the one?
That's the one. That last ball, which you hit real solid.
That was solid.
9.5, 2,700 on the spin, 172 ball speed. You know, it's going 310 yards. And if your goal is to keep it in play, that's pretty efficient at 310 yards. You might be able to get it a little lower spin, and it's going to be 315 yards. But you're usually making some of those trade-offs in club selection or club design that you don't want to make, which are the less forgiving.
The only thing that I find when you're trying to fine-tune a spin and you go for the lower option is that when you do miss hit and you've got the lower option in there and then it goes even lower, it's like unplayable. Whereas if you're a tiny bit higher than that and you get the miss strike,
we see a lot of pros that like to err at the 27 to 2,900 spin, because they know there's some benefits to that at the expense of a little bit of potential distance.
Absolutely. One more.
Love it.
Nice.
Move low on the face again, but
tiny bit low.
Super in play, close to the target line. 306 yards again, 2,800 spin.
Ai Smoke Max. Is that the Max?
That's the Max,
That's the Max. And a Fujikura Ventus 6S. Gara.
That looks good.
Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
Let's hit more fairways in 2024.
Looks like you're gonna.